Hello and welcome to Explorers of Elsewhere live. First time, nailed it. I am DM Dan, and I'm joined tonight by I'm joined tonight by Theo, Nate, Livy, and Dan. Hello. How are you doing?
Good.
Marvelous. Yes, ready to roll indeed. We started a new campaign. In a new campaign setting, we're playing Daggerheart in the Elsewhere setting, and we've got brand new characters. We've got a brand new adventure. We kicked things off a fortnight ago, where your four characters, Cal, Alzakar, Rayri, and Vanier, step through a portal to one of the fledgling explorer settlements, a small little quaint town that very few people have heard of called New Prosper. And yeah, you've arrived to give your help. You've discovered that the reason for your summonings is that a research party which was investigating this curious hundreds of feet tall crystalline tower to the north of the town, one of the research teams has gone missing. They haven't come back. It's the first time it's happened. They've been gone for about a week to a week and a half, and you've been asked to go search for them to bring them back to safety. You've met a couple of curious characters along the way. The surly sheriff of New Prosper, Comstock, the sort of like the heartful councillor of the town, Milia, a rather curious older Laravar gentleman down on the beaches called Victor, as well as a slew of other characters and NPCs. And yeah, off the back of the request, you have been given your directions. You've set off northwards to the Crystal Tower, which you are told is surrounded by a forest of crystalline trees, which have been gone through a process of crystallization due to the immense arcane power that this tower once exhibited. And in this forest, you have come across three keepers, 7 to 8 foot tall giants, who have barred your way, saying that this is a dangerous place and you can go no further. So, we return to the four of you in a bit of a standoff. In the middle of the three keepers is a younger keeper man, like a barely out of boyhood, you suppose, and having planted a spear in the ground that you feel holds some large amounts of importance to the keeper, who has informed you that his name is Elmin. He has told you, "I'm sorry, but we cannot let you pass," he says. The four of you see these two keepers flanking him, kind of eyeing you suspiciously. One of them tightens her grip on the haft of the hammer that she carries, whilst the other sort of like has you notice a primed crossbow at the ready. But if we switch through, we find the four of you, standing off against these three keepers. As Elmin tells you can go no further, what do? You notice that tensions are running a little high. Let's say Rayri, you're at the front of the group. What are you doing right now?
I think she's just so Vinny's a little bit suspicious, I would say. She steps ahead slightly from her and just does a low sort of grumble, and Ray will just go, "You need to go, people just need to get past. We're not going to do anything."
Okay. The female, like the woman keeper on the, like to your right, she lets out this almost dismissive, like grunt of a laugh. And Elmin once again responds, as I've said, the last time explorers went into this tower, bad things happened. And under our oaths, we will not see that happen again.
What bad things?
The two flanking keepers kind of sideways glance at the young lad in the middle, and you notice his grip kind of shift on the handle of the spear slightly. The tower is a focus of evil, malignant forces. It corrupted, it divided, and through its power, someone very dear to us was lost. There is no reason for you to be going in there.
We are also looking for people who are lost. Perhaps we can help you too.
Elmin kind of narrows his eyes. I'm not How can I trust that you're not going in for nefarious means? Who are these people that are lost?
They are...
We are looking for a bunch of researchers. Like bookish types, glasses, books.
They were sent
Seen
from...
them?
They were sent from New Prosper. We are here to help them find their researchers.
You come from New Prosper?
Yes. We come on behalf of Sheriff Comstock.
The keeper purses his lips together and he takes a deep breath and sort of like his back straightens slightly. You come with Comstock's blessings.
Yes.
He turns to look at you, Cal. You're being awfully quiet.
Not a man of many words. But what my friend here says is true. We are to go in, retrieve the lost, and leave.
Elmin, like, you see him kind of clenching on his back teeth slightly. I'm going to ask for... It seems like he's teetering. So, who would like to roll some dice to try and persuade him?
Not me.
Not me. My presence is -1.
So, hang on, let me have a quick look.
Oh, I forgot to do something at the beginning of the session. Can I do something, Dan?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Can I roll my prayer dice?
You can roll your prayer dice.
Yeah.
If there's any, yes, if there are any beginning of session rolls, then please go ahead.
Also, Dan, I don't know if from the YouTube screen it looks like my hope isn't coming up. I don't know.
You are correct.
Let me roll
So
again.
let me...
A 3 and a 3.
Boop.
Nice.
There you go. Okay.
So that basically means I can put an extra 3 dice on either damage or incoming damage or any roll resulting after the roll. Additionally, you can either instead exchange the value for as many hope and give that to a PC in range.
Hacks. Okay, very good. Very, very good. So, are there any other start of session rollies?
Rollies.
Okay. So, in which case, yes, if anyone would like to throw some bones, I'm imagining you're going to be... This is going to be some sort of presence check. So you're trying to charm, perform, or deceive. Hopefully not the latter.
I mean, I have an ability called Bold Presence. So whenever you make a presence roll against a hostile target, which I'd assume they'd be a hostile target if we fail,
Yeah.
you can spend a hope to also add your strength trait to the roll, and my strength trait is +2. So at the moment, my presence is 0. But with Bold Presence, it becomes +2. I don't know if that means anything, if that's the best one in the group or not.
I've
So
got as well on
I think it might be.
the presence.
I think it might be. I mean, yeah, I'm game to use Bold Presence and take that hit. Considering Cal was the last to speak, it feels thematically the correct.
Sure. So does that cost a hope?
It does cost a hope. Yep,
Okay.
1 hope down.
So I'll drop you down to 1. Okay, in which case, yeah, go. Feel free. Roll with a additional +2.
Okay, let's do it.
I think
Mm.
just because of the scenario we're in, we want to make sure this succeeds.
Well, it succeeded, I think. That's a very high roll, but with fear.
Sorry, I didn't see the roll
Succeeded, but not maybe as planned.
Not really as planned. I mean, 12. It's a 21 with fear +2, so you're 23 plus fear. So
Okay.
I'm putting the shits up this keeper, I think. But yeah.
Okay. So as you say this, Cal, and you kind of take a step forward, and you let your kind of your physical, like, whilst you're not the broadest of shoulder, would we argue that actually Azakar is physically bigger than you?
I would say probably Valnir is probably the biggest.
Oh, Vanya, yeah, fair.
Sorry.
I'd say Vinny is the biggest of the lot of you.
Vinny is
He's
the
just
hero.
bigger than you.
So as you say this, and you take a singular step forward, and it is a step that is born of all of the years of experience, of all the shit that you've dealt with. And Elmin, like, glances and looks at you as you approach, and there's, like, the top right corner of his lip kind of curls up into this almost sort of like grimaced smirk of sorts. And, you remind me of Comstock, actually, he says, looking at you. And Elmin sort of like takes a step forward towards you. And then he says, Comstock was a brave man, but he was foolish. And he let a very close friend of mine die. And as the keeper kind of steps to the side, I trust you won't make the same mistake. And while the three keepers still feel kind of standoffish, but at the very least they have kind of opened the way to the crystal tower, that you can see the side of it kind of off in the distance through the crystalline, like between the crystalline tree trunks that kind of pepper your path in front of you. The three kind of keepers stand to the side. Yeah, you're free to go unless you have any questions for them.
You seem to know this area well. Is there any dangers we must be aware of?
Everything the crystal touches is dangerous. I've seen what its corrupting influence can do to someone, to something. I hailed from a village not far from here. Once it was called Ekabosdir, and I watched many lose their lives to creatures that were transformed by this foulness. And so you see him sort of like look past you at the tree to your right, that, you know, juts from the ground like this stalagmite. Nothing good can come from this place, and it angers me that the people of New Prosper aren't in agreement. They keep sending their people here, and it was only a matter of time before something bad happened. And here we are. I haven't been in the tower, but there are some things that you know of even without experiencing them. I dare not tread in a place like that.
Wise words for such a young being. But we have a job to do. And he bows.
The keeper sort of like nods his head in response to your bow. Anyone else got any questions while the dialogue box is open?
What do you mean it corrupt? Like, can we touch it? Are we not allowed to touch it? Are we like, ooh, like, do I not to touch it?
The crystal, it's corruptive. It's you know, physical contact with it risks it changing you. This wood was once a beautiful hardwood forest. The trees were much taller than these feeble mockeries would have you believe. The power of the corruptive, infectious power of the tower has done this. There was one from New Prosper, one of the explorers, whose very hand and arm was crystallizing, having come into contact with some of this. For your own safety, I would suggest not letting it touch you ever.
Vanier just mutters under his breath. Note to self, don't scrape any crystals for salt for later dinner. And listen to Azakar.
Licking like a salt lick.
The keeper continues. There was a good friend of mine from Ekabosdir. He was an old wolfkin, much older than his years would. He was an old wolfkin with a soul much younger than his years would belie. His name was Dume. He believed that this crystal was the blood of a Khan, hardened into physical form, seeping through the world of elsewhere as a result of the war. It stands as an affront to all of the work that the world spirits do to heal the world. These are scars.
Maybe it is like a thorn. Get someone to pluck it out, the world heals.
Perhaps, he says, and he glances to this huge, hundreds of feet tall tower. If you can find someone big enough to pluck it.
Well, you never know.
The keeper looks to you once again. Heed my words. Be safe in there. May Coroloro's grasp protect you.
Thank you. And may Aya's light protect you also.
The keeper smiles slightly and nods. And yeah, the three keepers completely move out the way to give you free access. So
yeah, as
okay.
as we're sort of starting to make our way past them, I think I'll, looking towards the others, be like, "What is a Gorlolo?"
You say that. It's certainly not the name of any god that you've heard of. But we live in a world now where lots of people will give reverence to names that you suspect are most likely world spirits of some sort. Like everyone's heard Aya, presumably none of you have heard of Coroloro, but you suspect now that all of these names that people revere are most likely world spirits that appeared at the end of the war 18 months ago. So the four of you continue on under the watchful gaze of these three keepers, these Corolori, as you suppose them to be, until eventually you find yourself. There's a point where the trees almost just stop growing. Perhaps their matter has been subsumed by this monolithic wall of crystal that rises out of the ground in front of you. And as you look down, you notice that even the ground that the crystal is embedded in, like the ground around it, is appearing to crystallize itself. So much like an infected wound, it's kind of seeping out, and you can see that the particles of dirt and kind of the debris, the forest debris, or what would be forest debris, slowly kind of becomes glass-like until it achieves this light blue, pinkish hue, similar to the crystal tower in front of you. And it's about 4 o'clock-ish, like it's mid-afternoon, and the sun, as it's starting to peel down back towards the horizon, you can see kind of reflects down, and the light kind of kaleidoscopes off the side of this tower in, frankly, quite a beautiful way. But you notice that whilst some of the sunlight is kind of piercing through the crystalline outer shell, it's not completely kind of translucent. There is clearly some sort of opaque material within. But you can see, like, around, you're at the what Comstock referred to as the front entrance, because there's a number of like discarded camping utensils, presumably from other survey teams, You see what almost looks like a little, like, one-person tent kind of thing. That's only about, less than 10 foot by 10 foot square. And there is what appears to be like a wooden frame, like a door, almost a door frame of sorts, kind of malleted, like banged into the ground in front of the tower. It looks like a door frame with just this wall of crystal behind it. You notice that the door frame isn't making contact with the tower's surface, but it certainly looks like a door frame of sorts. On a chair in that little one-person tent off to the left is what appears to be like a register, like a journal register of sorts. And Vanya, you're close enough to see that there are a number of names and dates written down on in the ledger. You presume that this must be some sort of register.
Register. What do I see? Any like recent names and dates, like within the past week or something?
So, having a little flick through, you see that research teams have been coming quite regularly. Almost, sort of like 2-ish a week, coming and going for the past 3 or so months. It makes you wonder sort of like what they're looking at, what they're seeing that makes them keep on coming back. Because clearly, a lot of people are treading ground in here. But as you flick to the last page that's been filled out, you notice that the most recent survey group went in and spent about 3 or 4 days inside the tower. So you can see them marked in and marked out. The team before has marked in but has not marked out, and that's about a week. That's about 8 days ago.
So there's a team before who arrived but never marked out, and then there's been a team that's gone in and out during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Surely that must have...
That's why...
I relay all that information to everyone. So, what do you all make of it?
How many people were in the team that went in but didn't come out?
So you notice that whereas all of the other teams have a list of names,
Right.
in the missing team, the team that presumably is still in there, you suppose, in rather hurried writing, it says tree +4 ! Exclamation mark.
Tree +4. Oh, tree, not.
Yeah.
Not as in a tree.
Yeah.
Not a literal tree.
TRII +4 ! Exclamation mark. Smiley face.
5.
It seems like it's tree and then 4 others.
Yeah, so 5 people
Oh,
together.
5, yeah.
Yes.
Little smiley face, yes. Which also ties into what Comstock and the Goblin twins Knockenbach told you, that there was a group of 5.
Okay. Yeah, before I guess we continue any further, Vanya will be like, well, before we go in, I think it is a good time to eat a little snack, so that we're all fed and prepared for the journey ahead, yeah? And he, as he's been wearing this big overall white coat that drapes over him like a big cloak, he again reveals as he pulls it to the side, there's that strange bag again that once he opens it, little bits of frost comes out, and he'll pull out some dried jerky type bits that have got like some sort of seasoning, and he will be like handing out to each one, like, yeah, you eat up, give you energy.
What is it? What type of meat?
Vanya takes a moment to think. I think this one was definitely a beef-like texture.
Yum. Beef like. That's my
May not
favorite.
have been from a cow, but it was a similar taste.
It was from the beef Pokemon category.
So he tries to hand out to the three of you to have some sustenance before we go in.
3. Vinny's there.
And four pieces.
There is a distinct snarling and growling from the large chihuahua.
Throw it up in the air for it to catch.
How? I mean, if we were to compare Vinny, your pet dog, to another animal, like what's like size-wise? What size animal are we talking? Is it like the size of a goat?
I would say bigger than a goat. More like a.
Good God!
More like a. Well,
Nothing bigger than a goat.
maybe you can ride him, so he's gonna be like.
Well, bear in mind you're like what, 3.5 foot or
3.5
4 foot or something.
Yeah. So I'm thinking more like Shetland, like small pony. Like
I was about
Shetland.
to say small Shetland pony. That makes sense.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
And because he's a chihuahua, his head is massive.
Yeah, it's eyeballs. I just
Size of footballs.
as a footballs. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Okay, so yeah, as you're handed out, as you receive these beef-like delicacies from Vanya, you find yourself stood in front of this kind of wooden door frame. What's Hazakar doing?
Azakar, he takes the jerky and he goes, "Thank you," and he just puts it away in his pocket.
Just off of that beat, Vanya will respond like, "We're glad to have someone with your skills around. I think they will be coming in quite in handy in this corrupted, magic-y place. Good to have you on board." I'm using a feature called Soldier's Bond. Once per long rest, if you compliment someone or ask them about something about they're good at, you may both take 3 hope. And
Sweet, man.
and because I'm role-playing it with my food, you've taken my jerky. And I've spoken to you. That's all I need.
3 hope. Thank you very much.
And 3 hope to me.
Right, so the two of you both up to 5 hope.
You're gonna get one of my prayer dice.
Very good, very good. Okay, so, as Vanya is kind of complimenting you on your skills for whatever is coming up, what do you make of this, like, door frame of sorts? And when I say, like, it's literally, like, 3, planks of wood. Don't, like, embedded in the ground about a foot from the surface of the crystal tower.
I guess as rudimentary as it is, I think he's quite pleased that at least some sort of safety measures, even how wonky they are, have been taken, have been tried. He's very impressed with the register. He likes the register.
Yeah.
He thinks that he's already started signing in on everyone's names in to go in.
Amazing. Spot the Orderborn right here. That's yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he's just gonna turn to everyone and go like, "Ooh, I've signed us all in. We tread," and he shows everyone just to make sure that he spelled all their names right.
Yeah.
He goes like, We do not know what we are going to see in here. We tread lightly, stay together. Don't try to be heroic. We have a job to do. And we don't know how powerful this crystal can be, so tread lightly, think with your heads.
I will try.
And as you say this, Cal, you notice that the surface of the crystal tower, like the surface of it, of the crystal tower, ripples ever so slightly.
What, just reacting to the conversation, or just is this? Oh, don't like that.
But sorry, when I say it ripples, like you see through this like door frame that the surface of the tower ripples.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting. I think Cal will. And by the way, in terms of the jerky, I think he doesn't even ask what it is. He just starts eating it. So he's chill. Like everyone's like, so what is this? And he's just like nom 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 nom.
It's protein.
Good, right?
He knows it's food. Okay, he went through war. He knows food is hard to get by. So yes, he's not that picky. I feel like he'll continually glance at the door. He recognizes it's. Well, I say that. Can it be taken that he would recognize a magical doorway? Because I'm assumedly the way it's set up is that it is some sort of portal into the tower. Am I allowed to say that Cal wouldn't notice that with some of his?
Well, yeah. I mean,
background?
you like having noticed the shimmer on the surface of the surface of this thing. You glance kind of to the left of the door frame, to the right of the door frame, and you don't notice any kind of movement in the surface. Like, it is a solid surface. You see, the light pitter patter glints off it, but like as you glance back to the part of the wall, the part of the tower that's framed by this door, you once again see it looks like the surface of a very still and calm lake. Like the light kind of rolls slightly within it before it refracts.
Well, I think it's safe to say that that's the entrance.
What, those sticks?
Mm-hmm. Looks like a magical portal of some description.
Magic.
A safe entrance to the tower. Yeah, that old chestnut. So we should get in there soon. Well, something I would like us to keep in mind, actually, is if there's already been a research team inside and they've not noticed, like, surely if they found the research team, they would have said something, which suggests to me that the previous team have gone in perhaps a little further than the ones who've recently gone in. So we should probably keep that in mind in regards to when we're having a look around.
Good
See if
point.
there's any telltale signs of drifting off a path, or
Well,
if there's a way of sensing that.
just as a quick reminder, your minds flash back to because you asked the question, like, has anyone mapped the inside of this place? And the two goblin twins told you that it was discovered that every time a research team went in and drew a map and came back out, it was a different map. So it seems that the interior of this place is quite mutable. It's, yeah.
Sure.
Trixie.
Ignore that then, because Cal would have definitely remembered that. Theo did not. So Cal's is like, yeah, that's it's Trixie. Be
So
careful in there. We don't know.
should we go off in different directions?
Let's not split up.
Really?
Let's
Did I just say?
keep close.
Going on my own, and then you guys.
No, no, no. Stay together.
Yeah, but if there's
No, lady, no. Remember last time when we had to rescue you from the big blue glob? Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, I don't remember like that. I don't remember it being that I was lost. I was just distracted, and then I found a thing. And
Vinny looks at you with the closest approximation to a raised eyebrow that a chihuahua can pull.
oh, yeah. Okay, me and Vinny will stay together.
Stay together with us. We all stay
The whole
together.
group.
Who's stepping through the door
It's on
first?
Vinny. Yeah, it's on to
So-
Vinny. So we can all.
I'll probably just like go straight up to the door after this conversation and say, "It is fine. We got 2 pups here with good noses. I'm sure we can sniff them out." And I'll just walk straight towards the door.
Okay.
Well, door frame.
So you walk as you kind of pass through the door frame. You notice like not what you wait for something to happen, and then nothing does. But like the momentum of your step carries you forward, and you realise that at this rate you're about to face plant into the side of this enormous crystalline structure. But as you go to like bring your hands up to catch you, your hands touch the surface of the crystal, and you just feel this like chill wash over your fingertips, and the other 3 of you watch as Vanier disappears into the surface of the tower with a.
You probably just hear this. Oh no! And just
And yes, like the sound of his voice is cut off. There's a point where it just stops, and you see the surface kind of rippling like a still lake that's been disturbed. And Vanya is gone. If you could create a new character for me, Dan, that'd be great. Only joking. Yeah, Vanya is gone. Who's going in next? Yeah.
I think, yeah, Ravi and Vinny will just do a run. Like the quicker you go in, the less likely you are to fall over.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
pelt ourselves in.
so I'm just gonna get the both of you just ram me for the back as you jump in.
Okay, Ray's jumping in second. Who's going in third?
Azakar has put the register down quite neatly where it was, and he walks in.
Okay, very good. And then Cal, it's just you at the back, and I can
Hello.
only imagine there's a.
It's very much a. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's good.
As you follow in behind. Okay. You all respectively feel like this. The chances are none of you have ever kind of come face to face with an ice drake. But the chill that washes down you, you feel it running from the top of your skull all the way to the base of your spine. And you feel your bodies involuntarily shake. Before you feel a sensation of free fall. There's that feeling of your stomach launching itself up into your lungs as you teeter and plunge through emptiness. Before everything comes back into sharp focus as you feel your foot land on solid ground. it feels like a much more violent version of going through the portal that brought you to New Prosper. But as you all sort of like open your eyes and take your first breaths, the first thing you notice is the darkness. And as your eyes begin to acclimatize, you notice that you're in some sort of cave-like structure. The path, a small amount of the path ahead of you, is illuminated by crystalline growths that sprout from the wall behind you. And you, Cal, Azakar, and Rayri, you see, Vanier at the front of the quartet, the quintet if you count Vinny. But Vanier, you can barely see a few, like more than sort of like 5 feet before the light of the glowing crystal behind you peters away. That said, as you focus, you can see that there are spots of light piercing the darkness, revealing what appear to be more areas of this cave-like place. But from where you are, you can see relatively little. You can't see much of it right now, but this is a shout out. This map will be a combination of 3 of Birdie maps. And if you like what you see, make sure to have a look at Birdie's Patreon, patreon.com/Birdie maps, because some really, really good stuff. Anyway, we find, as the 4 of you your eyes begin to acclimatize to the darkness, who brought light? Ray brought light. Who else brought light?
My face. No, I've got a torch.
Okay, so I will remind you that if we turn on a torch, you won't be able to use your bow.
Yeah. What if I mount it now?
Put it in Vinny's mouth.
Put it in Vinny's mouth.
You giving it to Vinny?
I also have a torch in my backpack as well.
Okay. Are both of you torching up?
Yeah, and then if I have to action myself to get.
Okay. So the 2 of you produce and light your torches, which help to illuminate the space in front of you. You can see that the passageway that you're in stretches forward about 20-ish feet before it peels slightly to the right. You can see what appears to be a bit of a precipice, like a drop down just off to the left, leading into like a larger cave area. But feel free to start moving, obviously within reason, don't go too far.
I think as you both have got the torches out, I'm like, I don't mind taking the lead.
Actually, I'm gonna.
And I start sniffing the air to see what I can sort of gauge as we start to traverse. How can I not move my token?
Well, I've just paused the game. So, in which case, as you sort of like go to assess, the air smells. It smells like old, musty, and rancid. There's like a sharp, sour smell in the air that kind of stings the insides of your nostrils slightly as you kind of take in a deep breath. And as you grimace, like taking in your surroundings, you see that the walls themselves are kind of rocky, for the most part. They seem slight. It's difficult to tell whether the rock itself is coloured, like it is coloured in kind of bluish pinkish hues, or if it's simply the glow from the crystals that are jutting out from it and providing you some illumination. But as you focus in on your senses, Vanier, you feel like you can hear an almost like a dripping sound. A dripping sound that, Rayri, you feel you have found the source of. And as Rayri, as you step forward with Azakar, you see what appears to be a lake of this glowing, luminous liquid. It looks thick. You see that there's about a 10-foot drop in front of you. That's the area marked out by these little triangles. But yeah, there's this kind of large kind of, well, this lake of, yeah, this liquid. You notice that around the edge of this lake of sorts, there are, you know, what you would assume to be bush-like plants, almost, you know, like you would get these kind of large leafed plants around the edge of a pond, for example, and you can see sort of like vines and like budding flowers sprouting from the top of them. And it would be normal to look at if they weren't entirely made of crystal. And Rayri, Rayri and Azakar, as you watch the surface of this kind of lake, you can see that light shimmers off it in ways that it shouldn't, and there's a quiet but constant. You can see drips of this liquid coming down from the ceiling to land on the lake surface.
Oh. Why does it look so... Why is it so thick?
Azakar, as Rayri points out the viscosity of it, there's a horrible, horrible thought that creeps into your mind. It looks like glowing blue-pink blood. It's got that thickness to it.
I am not sure what it is, but I would advise you stay back.
Don't drink it then.
No, don't drink it. Not this time.
Ah, damn.
It looks nice. It looks kind of like soup.
I do advise that there is nothing in this place that is worth eating or drinking. Can we please not do that?
Me and Vanny looking at him and spoils. No lets us eat anything.
What's Cal thinking? What's Cal doing?
I think Cal is just like, I hate magic. I hate this. Oh, that lake looks like bad news. I think we should avoid it and keep going. Unless we have absolutely a very big reason to go near that lake, I think we should keep going past it.
Good
This whole
idea.
place makes me uneasy.
So, in which case, as you say that, yes, you can see that the passageway that you're in continues south. Rayri, with your torch and the illumination from kind of crystal growths that sprout from the walls, you can see that the pathway continues south and to your concern, you can see what appears to be another lake-like surface
Oh,
at the end of the tunnel.
lake!
You see as you approach that leading to, or maybe from, you're not entirely sure because it moves so slowly, but there is a stream of this kind of glowing liquid that flows as you approach off to your left. That, like, following it, you see it cascades. You suspect that it must be flowing from this smaller lake, to be sure, because it seems to be cascading down a 10-foot drop into a lower tunnel. On the other side, though, you see that there's another section of the cave, roughly the same level as you. So it would seem that this liquid is flowing into like a chasm, a chasm 10 foot lower than you. But Vanya, as you approach, you notice that the lake itself, this liquid, is giving off this iridescent glow that illuminates, and it shifts ever so slightly. It's quite mesmerizing to watch. But again, around the edge of this lake are plants that look as if they've been made from glass by some sort of artisan.
Well, being looking like there are two slopes from the path we've been traveling, and now I'm quite used to traversing the ridges of the world. May I advise we tread back and go on the shallower slope, because I think especially this one that seems a lot deeper also has trails of water which might be a little bit slippery.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So are you heading back from whence you came?
Yeah, heading back to
back to
this
the
slope because it's a
triangle.
shallower slope,
Sure.
I think.
So, upon kind of heading back, you notice that you spot that stream that was flowing from the smaller ponds, kind of trickling in front of you, that snakes between the various kind of crystalline plants. And it would seem that this large kind of lake of sorts is being fed by droplets coming from the ceiling, and you're glancing up. It's a bit hard to make out in the murk, but there appear to be stalactites made of these crystals, like they're spearing through the ceiling, and this stuff is kind of collecting in heavy drops on the tips of the spines before falling towards the surface of whatever this is.
Question to the DM.
Answer for the PC.
Now, this might be my D&D brain thinking here, but can I check the ceiling around just to make sure that there aren't any creepies hiding away up in the ceiling, or maybe if there's nothing really hiding up there, maybe it's a case of making sure that wherever we're traversing, we're not underneath something that has quite a lot of drip.
Sure.
To make it a safer path for us to traverse in the cave.
Literally have a lot.
To try and avoid the drippiness.
Sure.
If there's nothing hiding.
Yeah, chuck me a perceive.
Instinct
So instinct, yes.
Yeah, I'll do instinct, and I'm just checking my my skills.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I've got a skill, an experience, heightened senses.
Okay.
So could I spend a hope to add my heightened senses to this roll, please, DM?
I mean, you've got more hope than God, so sure, why not? Yeah. Okay, so 1 down to 4 hope.
Yep. And so this will now add +2, so making a total of 4 +4 to my roll.
Okay.
So here we go, folks. I rolled 24 with hope.
24 with hope. Okay.
And I'm opting, before we continue, because I'm a warrior called the Slayer, I'm foregoing the hope that I'm getting from this, to add a d6 die to my Slayer die pool.
Okay. Very good.
I'm not getting a hope from that.
Sure. Okay. I'll leave you at 4 then. So, you, like, your eyes now having accustomed to the gloom a bit better, you notice that, like, over this large lake and the small pond, you know, further down the corridor that you've just walked away from, there seem to have been these kind of crystalline stalactites over those areas. You suppose that might be why it's pooling here as much as it is. But luckily, the stalactites seem to be like kind of focused on those above those areas. Like, you glance immediately overhead and it's the same kind of dead looking rocky surface. So yeah, you know, you are able to see that there seems to be no real risk of being dripped on by whatever this is. You rolled like 24, didn't you?
Yeah.
And as you ponder then to what it is, there's a moment where a crazy idea comes to the front of your mind. And the other 3, you know, you can almost see the cogs turning in Vanier's head. And Vanier, you turn to look, like, you look at the hues of the lake. You look at the hues of the crystals that are jutting out of the walls that are hanging from the ceilings. And it's pretty much the same. Is this lake mana? Is this a lake of arcane mana?
As that thought comes to the forefront of my mind, and in turn, Vanya will sort of mutter, "Mana. Is that just a pool of mana? You folk, what do you think of this?" As I start pointing towards the pool, as it's not the most intelligent in the world.
Cal and Azakar, you were both soldiers in the war, weren't you?
Mm.
You know that arcane mana was a gift given to mortals by the betrayer, Akan. And it was described that it comes from within. Cal, you would have heard... Well, Cal, you would have heard that it's sometimes referred to as like soul energy. But Azakar, you know from being a Majani that Majani wizards were so valued in the war because of their abilities to more acutely control the flow of energy through their bodies, much like yourself. But mana is like ephemeral. It's kind of nothing until it's formed into a spell. And then it might become solid or explosive or whatever, the spellcaster wishes to do with it. You know that since the war, these crystalline growths, like mana can be crystallized. You've seen it with runestones and mana gems. Since the war, kind of more natural, corruptive, arcane crystals like this place is, that's becoming more commonplace. But to concentrate so much that it liquefies, it's like you're seeing liquid oxygen. The concentration as a car, frankly, scares you. And you found at least 2 pools of it. As the 4 of you stand looking at the surface of the pool, Rayri, you notice just near the kind of the shore, the shore near you, a small little bubble rises to the surface and pops. It makes a cute little noise, which is perhaps what draws your attention. But then, as you watch, because the bubbles and then pops just like you would see in like a bath, for example, but the droplet that forms from the pop flies up in the air and then doesn't drop back to the surface, and it just floats and lingers. And you watch as it begins, this spherical droplet begins to shape and warp ever so slightly. And then it begins, you see an edge begin to form on the perfectly round surface, and it elongates into a hard crystal-like shape. And again, it's still very pretty to look at. But let's just show you more. The colours split across the shards as this thing kind of breaks apart slightly into this collection of kind of almost floating rock type things. And like the other 3 of you notice Rayri's head slightly tilted. And then other ripples and bubbles begin to pop across the surface of the lake. And you see other motes begin to coalesce. And while that's happening, are any of you for doing anything? While these are just kind of floating up from the surface?
Oh, look, how pretty!
Oh,
Oh,
Do we
look,
need
how
this?
pretty they are! Like little birds! Little birds!
I think
They're not
Azakar is going to
birds.
sort of put his hand on Rayri and sort of try and push her back.
Little crystal birdies.
What's Cal's at the front? What's Cal thinking? What's Cal doing?
I think Cal's hand is on his sword hilt now. He's a bit like, I don't like this.
Okay.
Yeah, he does not like this at all. He's very concerned. This is not how, like, the mana thing is terrifying enough as it is.
Uh-huh.
The idea of it actually forming into solid shape without actively being touched is just something that's happening, is concerning him.
Okay. In which case, as you think these thoughts and kind of grimace at, that's not right, you see movement under the surface of this lake, of this mana lake, and a very large kind of growth begins to emerge from it. until it also pops like a wet zit. And rising from the surface of the lake is a large globule of floating mana. The light ripples across it as its form undulates and wobbles. And Cal, as you sort of like, as you feed that dark thought, as you grip the handle of the hilt of your sword, the orb seemingly ripples angrily in response. And as you watch, the small motes that have emerged from the lake begin floating towards you. And as the large globule in between floats with them and begins converging on your locations, let's go for a quick break. Cool. So we are gonna be away for about 15 minutes. Yeah, make sure to stick around. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button. Comment down below on your thoughts, especially if you're a bit more versed with the Elsewhere lore, how you think that this is all panning out, and how you think our adventurers are going to do in the face of this living, floating manor. Yes. If you want to see more of this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications of when we release new videos. We've got this campaign running, we've got Elysia Rising, which is the Blaze in the Dark campaign running, we've got Fallout, London, Let's Plays, we've got all sorts. We wouldn't want you to miss out, so yeah, do yourself a favour, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. Beautiful. Right, I will see you beautiful creatures in 15 minutes, which means 9:28. 9:28.
28.
Cool. See you all in a bit. Bye.